Hello 8B. So today we'll be talking about powers and exponents. We're going to move on to 1.3. I don't want this to be too long a video, so I'm going to go straight into the examples, go straight into today's lesson. First of all, we're talking about powers and exponents. You've probably heard of what this is about, but I want to explain so that everyone knows, everyone is on the same page. Everyone has the same concept of what is a power. So first of all, let's say that we have a number. You've probably seen this notation before. 4 to the power of, let's say example, 4 to the power of 3. Now you've probably seen this before. This whole thing is called a power. So all of this is a power. When a number has, to the power 3, this is called a power. And then specifically, this number 4 is the base of the power. And then this number 3 up here is called the exponent. So a lot of people would think that the 3 is the power. That is a misunderstanding. It is a misconception. 3 is not the power. 3 is the exponent, whereas 4 is the base. And the whole thing, 4 to the power 3, or 4 raised to the third power, is the power itself. So this is what the powers are. So you need to keep this all in mind. I'm going to put a square bracket, oh, not bracket, a square beside all of this. You might want to copy this down. And again, don't forget to copy down the topic and today's date on a piece of line paper or your notebook. So now, if we have, I'm going to bring in a little bit of algebra into this. If I have a to the power 4, how can I write this as, now what does this actually mean? This actually means a times a times a times a 4 times. So a is the base, a is the number multiplying itself, 4 is the power, 4 is the exponent. I said the wrong thing, I'm sorry. 4 is the exponent, and it is multiplying itself 4 times, so it's a times a times a times a. What happens if we have a to the power n? So this time I didn't state specifically how many times a is multiplying itself. But in general, this is going to be a multiplied by a multiplied, and I'm just going to put dot 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 times a again. And all of this will be n times. So a will be multiplying itself n number of times. So this is what powers are. These are what exponents are. So the base is the one being multiplied. The base is the one multiplying itself. Let's go into some examples. I know I may be flying by a little bit fast. I'm rushing a little bit, but I do want to keep this video as short as possible. So example 1. This will be writing products as powers. So if at any time you feel that I am going a little bit too fast, feel free to pause the video and continue writing products as powers. And so, for example, I'm going to have two examples over here. Let's say that I have 4 multiplied to 4. So I'm using a notation. It may look different. On the first lesson, we talked about 4 times 4. You can write that as 4.4. Was it you guys? Maybe not. But let's remember 4.4 is the same as 4 times 4. And so how do we write this as a power? Now, when you are doing your homework, when you are writing down the answers, don't just give me the answer to the question. What you need to do is you need to copy down the question. So for example, I am copying down the question a bracket 4.4. Then I write the next step. This can be written as 4 squared. As simple as that. Writing the product as a power. Next question, again, I'm going to skip a line and then you start your next question. B, this time I have n times n times n times n. And then this can be, how many times did I multiply itself? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be equal to n to the power 4. I've just written this as a power. I'm moving on to example 2. Example 2. This is going to be, whoops, let me write the 2 a little bit better. 2. Evaluating powers and writing numbers as powers. So, evaluating powers, and writing numbers as powers. So basically, these two are opposites of each other. They are opposites, and you'll see why later. First question, A. Let's do 6 squared. Again, please copy your question to your line paper and then you evaluate it in the end. So what do I want you to do in this case? What I want you to do is you need to write down what is 6 squared. 6 squared is 6 times 6, and then this is equal to 36. Simple. Then next one, again, I'm going to skip a line. And B, this is going to be 2 to the power 4. I do want you to write down that intermediate step. This is the intermediate step, okay? Write this step. Same for this one. Write that step. And this will be 2 times 2 times 2. Whoops, I didn't have enough space. Times 2. Let me just put this arrow back. Write the step. Now, I'm going to go ahead and evaluate that. Why did I do this? Well, so that I can count nicely. 2 times 2, that's going to be 4. The other 2 times 2 is also 4. I can do this in my mind. And then 4 times 4 will give me 16. So I know I'm not doing the wrong thing. And then I can confirm by doing it one at a time. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So again, just use multiple ways to make sure you got the answer correct. Don't just quickly do the answer and assume you got it right. We have to always check whether our answers are correct or not. C, now this time I'm going to write a number as a power. So I'm starting off with 49 over here. Now I'm thinking 49, that's a perfect square. And that is supposed to be 7 times 7. We need to recognize this. Let's recognize that this is a perfect square of 7. And that is equal to 7 times 7. So we're doing it the other way around. And then I'm going to write this as a power. That's going to be 7 squared. Last question, D, I have 125. Now, you should be able to recognize this. Some of the homework questions may be a little bit more difficult. This example is easier. 125, you should be able to recognize that this is 5 times 5 times 5. That's 25 times 5, and 25 is 5 times 5. And then we can write this as 5 to the power 3. So that is example 2. Then last example, example 3. Don't forget, if you can pause this video anytime, or you can replay it if you don't get what I said, if I talk too fast. And if you are fine, then perfect. Perfect, good. Example 3, we want to evaluate powers with variables. Evaluate powers with variables. I'm going to do 2 questions. No, but this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a to the power 3 when a is equal to 4. And then I'm going to give myself some space. And let me do b over here. That's going to be b squared when b is equal to 13. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to do this first. Pause this video right now. Do this question first. I assume you've done it. If not, please pause and do these 2 questions first. I'm going to go through the answers now. You just check your work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute. So remember, substitute 4 into a. So that's what I'm going to do first. That's going to be 4 to the power 3. Remember, I use a bracket. And then that is equal to 4 times 4 times 4. And then now I can evaluate it. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So I can just put 64 straight away over here. Then next, b squared when b is equal to 13. Again, I'm going to substitute 13 into b. So this is equal to 13 whole squared. Don't forget the bracket. And then for me, 13 times 13, if you cannot do this in your head, and it's totally fine if you cannot do this in your head. If you memorized it, perfect. If you haven't, then it doesn't hurt to quickly do the multiplication like this. And then that's going to be 3, that's 1, that's going to be 9, that's 3. You add them together, 9, 6, 1. You found the answer. How long did that take? That just took a few seconds, right? Like less than 10 seconds. And then you're done. You finished your question. So that is it for today's lesson. Just over 10 minutes, 11 minutes long. And then now I'm going to write down the homework questions, copy the homework questions for you. So that's going to be exercise 1.3. Let me zoom in a little bit more. 1.3, all of the odd questions from 3 to 37. Now, it may seem like it's a lot, but once you start doing the questions, they should be quite straightforward. Then there's 42, 43, 47. Now, my video is only 11 minutes and a half long. That means you still got 40 minutes to do your own work. And then afterwards, please upload your homework, take a picture, and put it into OneNote. That's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next lesson.